I, 40-year-old, think that last night my wife, 43-year-old, cheated on me. We have been married for 10 years, together for 13. She went out to buy some stuff for the home, which is weird because she hates doing that. And she went with a male friend I don't know. She stayed out for several hours. It was weird because she spent the day getting ready like it was a date. And when she was gone, I grew suspicious and checked around the room, and she had put on her sexy underwear meant just for our bedroom. I do all the childcare, so I put the kids to bed. She showed up afterward and refused to tell me most of the details of the man she was with, and told me that in order to stay in our marriage, she needed some time that was just for her. She only told me his first name, and when I thought back, I had seen that name pop up in her texts for the last several months. I didn't think anything of it at the time because it's the name of a work friend she has, and they often need to reach out to one another after hours for big projects. I think that she has been slowly building up the courage to cheat on me, and over the last 2 months, our intimacy life has collapsed to zero, and she has grown extremely hostile without any reason given, seemingly out of nowhere. Last week, she told me she doesn't want to be married, and it has nothing to do with me. An outrageous assertion. Before everyone says I don't do enough as a husband, I do 100% of the childcare, shopping, housework, and I work from home, though she is the primary breadwinner. I am emotionally available and mature, and I don't have a temper. I stay relatively fit and am attractive enough. I am not controlling. I don't object at all to her having male friends. But this screams affair. I am utterly shattered, and I feel like I am dying. I don't even know how to talk to her about it. She has been so angry lately that communicating with her is a nightmare. This is a throwaway account. I am too ashamed to post it to my main. I want to divorce her, but that would break apart my children's home. If I file for divorce, would that make me the jerk? Update. My wife and I talked. She admitted that she had been talking to this guy for a while and had intended to have an intimacy encounter, but found him to be so lacking she decided not to. Apparently, he had emotions and wanted a relationship, so she talked with him, bought some of his art, and left. She is still going to hang out with him, but she isn't interested in him anymore, apparently. I asked if she wanted an open relationship. She said yes. I asked if we would ever have intimacy again. She said probably not. She said she just doesn't want to be in a relationship with anyone or have intimacy with anyone anymore. But if she does decide to, she doesn't want to feel caged, especially after her most recent disappointment. But she wants to keep our family together. So I have a permanent hall pass, and I don't ever have to explain where I was or who I was with. She said that is only fair, and I agreed, and she wants the same. I can't force her to stay married or monogamous, and I don't want a divorce. So we are roommates now with a legally binding lifetime contract and joint finances. And apparently, I am now in an open relationship. A very sad day for me, but maybe not the worst outcome. I assume a lot of people will say she was lying, but it sounded honest. And for the first time in months, she wasn't mad at me, she was being direct, and whether she cheated or not wouldn't change anything because she had intended to and had emotionally cheated, so that trust is gone either way. So I was right, sort of, and now my marriage is over, sort of. And that's just how life goes, I guess. I will need some time to process this. Feel free to comment if you like. It has been a rough 3 days. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Even if she didn't cheat, you all sound miserable and are doing the kids a disservice by staying together. Sorry you're going through that. I think it's healthier for ourselves and children to watch us fight for our right to happiness, so they don't repeat the pattern when they're grown, and have more agency to go for what they want. You're teaching them to settle, then they will enjoy you all more and vice versa, when you're in a more grounded place, not dealing with her resentment day in and day out. Rebuilding your kingdom is 100% worth it. Had to do it a year ago for the same exact reason. The kids are happier too. Comment 2. If you do divorce, child custody and how you're going to support yourself should be your biggest 2 concerns. If she has always been the breadwinner, you may be able to get alimony. Sounds like an affair to me, at least an emotional one. It is possible she hasn't slept with this man yet. I wonder why and how you all got here. Sorry for you and stay strong. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all your comments and support on my last post. It's been a tough few days since I found out about my wife's emotional affair and her desire for an open relationship. I've been trying to process everything, and figure out how to move forward. 3 days ago, after our initial conversation, I decided to take some time for myself. I went for a long walk in the park, trying to clear my head and make sense of it all. As I walked, I couldn't help but think back to the early days of our relationship. We were so in love, so passionate about each other. What had changed? When did we start drifting apart? Later that evening, I mustered up the courage to have another conversation with my wife. I asked her if she still loved me, if she still wanted to be with me. She hesitated for a moment before answering. "I do love you," she said, "but I'm not sure if I'm in love with you anymore." Those words hit me like a ton of bricks. I knew our relationship had been strained lately, but hearing her say it out loud was a different kind of pain. The next day, I tried to keep myself busy with work and the kids. I didn't want to dwell on the situation, but it was always in the back of my mind. That evening, my wife came home late again. She said she had been out with friends, but I couldn't help but wonder if she was with him. The thought of her being intimate with someone else made my stomach churn. Yesterday, I decided to confront her about my suspicions. I asked her point blank if she had slept with him. She denied it, but I could see the guilt in her eyes. "I told you nothing happened," she said, but her voice was shaky. I didn't know what to believe anymore. As I sit here now, writing this update, I can't help but feel a sense of hopelessness. My marriage is crumbling before my eyes, and I don't know how to fix it. I love my wife and I love our family, but I'm not sure if I can continue living like this. The thought of her being with other men, even if it's just emotionally, is tearing me apart inside. I know some of you suggested couples therapy in the comments, and I think that might be our next step. We need to find a way to communicate openly and honestly with each other, to rebuild the trust that has been broken. It's not going to be easy, but I'm willing to put in the work if she is. In the meantime, I'm trying to focus on my own well-being. I've started going to the gym more often, trying to channel my frustration and anger into something productive. I'm also spending more quality time with my kids, reminding myself of the joy and love they bring into my life. I know this update doesn't have a neat and tidy ending, but that's the reality of the situation. Life is messy and relationships are complicated. All I can do is take things one day at a time and hope that we can find a way to move forward, whether that's together or apart. Thanks again for all your support and advice. It means more than you know. My husband cheated early in our marriage and now wants me to raise his love child. But after 9 years of sacrifice, I kicked him out and took everything. My husband and I have been married for 9 years. In 2021, we found out my husband was being sued for child support. Turns out my husband had an affair shortly after we were married. It nearly ended our marriage, but we went to counseling together, and I agreed to stay in the marriage with the following provisions. My husband was to get a second job so that his child support payments did not affect our household budget, and that at no point in time would I ever consider having a relationship with this child. If he wanted to pursue one with them, fine. But I have absolutely zero interest in this kid, so my husband has been getting to know his kid over the past couple of years. And recently, my husband came to me and informed me that there was some sort of baby mama drama. Apparently, she has to self-surrender in May and is going to be incarcerated for 8 months. My husband told me that he needed to take custody while his affair partner is locked up. Otherwise, the kid would have to go to their grandparents, who basically live on the opposite coast from us. Their kid doesn't want to have to change schools or be so far away from their friends, dad and mom. She will be doing her time fairly local to us. So, after my husband told me that, I got up and left the house. I went to the grocery store on the corner and grabbed a copy of our area's apartment guide, went back home and handed it to him. He asked if I was serious. I told him I still felt the same way as I did 3 years ago. He said he didn't think that was fair, considering the extenuating circumstances. I told him I don't care about the circumstances. His kid is not welcome in my home. If he wanted to take custody, I will grant him an amicable divorce, but I am not changing my mind. I am not taking care of some other chick's kid. Edit. For all the people concerned about what a whipcracker I am in making my poor husband work 2 jobs. He has never had a full-time job since we have been together. He works 2 part-time retail jobs now that add up to 40, 50 hours a week. He currently only has supervised visitation with his kid. They see each other once or twice a month for a couple of hours with a social worker present. And for those who seem to think that I need to be the one to file for divorce, no, I will not. I am not the one who created this situation. If my husband wants to pursue custody, I have told him I will not fight it. I will grant him an amicable divorce and let him be on his way. However, I am not going to waste my own time, energy, and money to do so. He is responsible for getting his own ducks in a row for the situation he created. That includes being the one to go through the headache of filing. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This poor kid. I hope dad steps up and is there for them. OP, this isn't what you wanted for your life and relationship, and that's 100% fair. You and your husband are on different paths. This is his responsibility, and I think it's reasonable you asked him to move out and take care of his responsibilities alone. I don't think your marriage is going to work out. Comment 2. Why are you still with him? In no way do I think it's your responsibility to raise this child, but it is his responsibility. And this poor kid didn't ask for any of it. The whole situation would be happier and healthier if you all just split up. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last update and a lot has happened in the past 3 months. Thanks for taking the time to read this. After the shocker my husband dropped about needing to take custody of his child while the mother is incarcerated, things have been incredibly tense between us. We barely spoke for weeks, and when we did, it often ended in heated arguments. I couldn't believe he expected me to just accept this child into our home after everything we had been through. During this time, I found myself reflecting on our marriage and the sacrifices I had made to keep it together. I remembered the pain and betrayal I felt when I first found out about his affair and how I had to work through those emotions in counseling. I also thought about the agreement we had made back then and how important it was to me that his child support payments didn't affect our household budget. As the weeks went by, my husband started spending more time with his child, trying to prepare them for the upcoming changes. He would come home late from visits, often looking exhausted and stressed. I could tell this situation was taking a toll on him, but I still couldn't bring myself to change my stance on the matter. One evening, after a particularly heated argument, my husband finally broke down and shared some details about his past that I had never known before. He told me about his own childhood and how he had grown up without a stable father figure in his life. He said he didn't want his child to experience the same sense of abandonment and loneliness he had felt. Hearing his story made me realize that there was more to this situation than just my own feelings and our agreement. I started to see how much this meant to him and how he was trying to do right by his child, even if it meant putting a strain on our marriage. Despite this realization, I still struggled with the idea of having his child in our home. I worried about how it would affect our dynamic and whether I would be able to treat them fairly. I also feared that it would be a constant reminder of my husband's infidelity and that it would reopen old wounds. As the date of the mother's self-surrender approached, my husband became increasingly desperate. He pleaded with me to reconsider, saying that he didn't want to have to choose between his child and our marriage. He even suggested that we could try family counseling to work through any issues that might arise. I knew I had to make a decision, but I felt torn between my own feelings and the realization that this was a crucial moment for my husband and his child. I spent a lot of time soul-searching, trying to figure out what the right thing to do was. In the end, I decided to agree to a trial period. I told my husband that I would allow his child to stay with us for the duration of the mother's incarceration, but that we would need to have clear boundaries and expectations in place. I also made it clear that this was not a permanent arrangement and that we would need to reassess the situation once the mother was released. My husband was relieved and grateful for my decision, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy. We had a lot of work to do to prepare for this new chapter in our lives, and I still had my own reservations and fears to work through. As I write this, his child is set to move in with us next week. I'm nervous about how it will all play out, but I'm trying to keep an open mind and focus on the bigger picture. I know this is a test of my loyalty to my husband and our marriage, and I'm determined to do my best to rise to the challenge. Thanks again for reading, and I'll be sure to keep you all updated on how things progress. My girlfriend's friend insists she should cheat with a black guy, so I clap back hard and make her apologize for crossing the line. I am a 22-year-old male, And I have a girlfriend who is 20 years old. She has a friend who is 21 years old, and I find her to be completely unbearable. Her entire personality seems to revolve around her preference for not sleeping with white guys. She constantly goes on rants about how white guys are bad at intimacy or how they can't handle her. I understand that people have preferences, but she always manages to bring up her intimacy preferences in every conversation. It's like we could be talking about what we had for breakfast, and she would say something like, "Oh, you had a Pop-Tart? I once gave this black guy a Pop-Tart after he was done sleeping with me. I never would have given a white guy a Pop-Tart because he wouldn't have slept with me well enough to deserve it." That's what I mean when I say her entire personality revolves around this. The incident happened when she told my girlfriend in front of me that she needs to experience having intimacy with a black man at least once in her life. My girlfriend has never slept with a black guy. She looked at me, smiled, and fake laughed, saying, "Oh, just kidding." My response might have been harsh. This friend is a larger girl, probably wearing a size 18, 20 in pants. I said, "I speak for the white guys when I say that we would gladly give the white girls your size to the black guys. You may not want to sleep with us, but we don't want to sleep with you either. Black guys tend to like bigger girls." She quickly became quiet after that. But after the hangout, my girlfriend told me that I need to apologize because her friend speaks that way out of insecurity. She knows that she is bigger than the rest of the group, and she says these things as a means of coping. I told my girlfriend that I am fine, although annoyed, but I won't apologize until her friend apologizes for insinuating that my girlfriend should cheat on me. I refuse to apologize until that happens. Am I the jerk? Edit. I showed my girlfriend this post. She says everyone is overreacting and that this isn't a big deal. She told me that I don't need to apologize and to just not bring it up again. She has a comment, actually. She knows that her friend can be difficult, but she doesn't like how I responded. She thinks I should have just stayed quiet. Her friend has always been interested in boys, so this attitude from her is nothing new. My girlfriend has been to parties and clubs with her, and she has noticed that her friend doesn't get much attention from guys in general. When she does get attention, it's usually from black guys. That's also the only ethnicity she talks to on dating apps. My girlfriend tries not to delve too much into it because she finds some of her friend's behavior to be gross. For example, her friend will match with a guy on a dating app and immediately respond with something like, "Do you want to get your weenie sucked later?" and other explicit intimacy comments. As for her weight, her parents divorced during her first year of college, when she gained most of the weight. She also struggled with her grades and making friends during that time, so that may have something to do with her eating habits. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Funny that she can spend her time being a boss and saying she would never date or sleep with people like you and that your girlfriend should sleep with someone else. But one response from you and suddenly she's only a woman, and how dare you not be a perfect gentleman. Comment 2. As a black man, this situation irritates me. I don't want to be objectified. Those white girls are always irritating. I can't be around them without unintentionally hurting their feelings. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. I really appreciate the feedback and support. It's been a wild few days since I last updated you all. My girlfriend's friend, let's call her Sarah, decided to confront me about what I said to her. She showed up at my apartment unannounced, demanding an apology. I tried to explain my perspective, but she wasn't having it. She started yelling at me, saying that I had no right to comment on her weight or her intimacy preferences. Things escalated quickly, and before I knew it, Sarah was throwing things around my apartment. She grabbed a vase and smashed it against the wall, screaming that I was a discriminatory and a misogynist. I tried to calm her down, but she just kept getting more and more agitated. Eventually, my girlfriend showed up and managed to get Sarah to leave. But the damage was done. My apartment was a mess, and I was left feeling shaken and confused. The next day, my girlfriend came over to talk. She told me that Sarah had been struggling with her mental health for a while now, and that the incident at my apartment was a breaking point for her. Sarah had checked herself into a mental health facility and was getting the help she needed. My girlfriend also revealed that Sarah had been harboring feelings for her for years. Apparently, Sarah had confessed her love for my girlfriend back in high school, but my girlfriend had turned her down. Sarah had never really gotten over it, and her obsession with black men was a way of coping with the rejection. I was stunned. I had no idea that Sarah had been dealing with so much pain and trauma. I felt guilty for the way I had spoken to her, even though I still believed that her behavior was inappropriate. My girlfriend and I had a long talk about what had happened. We both agreed that we needed to be more understanding and compassionate towards Sarah, even if we didn't agree with her actions. We also decided that we needed to set some boundaries with her moving forward to protect our own mental health and well-being. In the end, I decided to write Sarah a letter apologizing for my harsh words and offering my support as she worked through her issues. I knew that it wouldn't fix everything, but it was a start. As for my girlfriend and I, we're taking things one day at a time. We've been having a lot of deep conversations about our relationship and our future together. We both realize that we have a lot of work to do if we want to build a strong, healthy partnership. Looking back on everything that's happened, I realize that I still have a lot to learn about empathy, compassion, and understanding. I know that I can be quick to judge and slow to forgive, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to be more open-minded and less reactive, even in the face of difficult situations. Thanks for reading, everyone. I appreciate your support and your willingness to listen to my story. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!